Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome to Atomic Autoworks. Today, we're working on a Harley-Davidson Street Glide. If you watched the video before of us making a seat pan how-to, the reason we did that was so our customers and dealers who aren't locally could actually see how to make the seat pan, how we do it. This way you could make it, ship it to us, and then we could foam it and wrap it exactly how you want. One of the most common things we have going on right now is there's a bunch of different manufacturers that have stretch tanks, tank covers, tank extensions, and each one's a little bit different, and depending on how the body shop or fab shop welds them on, bonds them on, it's gonna be a little bit different. So it caused a little bit of a challenge for us with our custom seats, because we do have seat pans and we have foam templates for like Yaffe tanks and certain ones that are usually a little more consistent and higher quality. However, a lot of times people will get these at their shop and they'll body work it differently, and then the seats don't fit right. What we do is we teach you how to make a seat pan sometimes, or if this bike, if it's a local customer or fairly local, they bring it to us, we'll make the seat pan, we could foam it, and then we'll actually shape it exactly into their tank. This one here is actually still in rough form, and I kind of wanted to show that because I was just going to make the seat, but I figured, you know, we're here to kind of show what we do, so that's what we're going to do, is make a custom seat today. We have kind of a common setup we've been doing for years for a lot of the Harley touring bikes. A lot of guys want to go down, back a little bit, sit more into the bike, and then a big trend now is, even though everybody's always saying how it doesn't, you know, the back seat doesn't matter, well, if you have a wife or significant other, it does matter. And having a 5-inch wide seat while yours is 13 inches wide isn't really fair, guys. What we're gonna do is, we started to make a flared out rear seat. We were really worried about it about probably like 4 or 5 years ago when we started doing it, because everything we were doing was more streamlined and they wanted these low profile seats. Now that people are touring a lot and they're getting on their bikes and realizing they need comfort, we kind of came up with this flared out design, and it's been really hot, and we've done a lot of them, and to the point where, like, you know, we're a custom shop, so a lot of what we do is just the custom work. Now we're actually designing a production seat, which we're kind of stoked. We've been wanting to do this for a long time, but because we do so much of the same thing every time, we felt we should just have one in a box that we could just ship out anywhere. We're gonna actually show the bike over there that we're gonna be prototyping and mocking up next, which is gonna be a totally separate video. I think what we're gonna end up doing is bringing you straight through the build, design, right to getting ready for manufacturing process for what we do. This way, it'll be kind of cool. You get to see something different, and then we're gonna set it up, I think, on Atomic Autoworks as its own playlist, so that you can watch a step-by-step progression of, you know, start to finish and what we do. Now, the reason I'm saying that too is that, you know, one of our benefits that we have is being a smaller shop, smaller manufacturers, that we talk direct to our customers every day. We listen to what you say. You know, for me to get on a motorcycle and design a seat based off me, well, that's crazy, because there's a million, everybody's different height, weight, and riding style. So we listen, and there is a couple setups that we have for the touring bikes that we really feel has been great. I mean, we get a really great response. Everybody loves it. So, you know, we have one for guys that are vertically challenged that will push you farther forward. We have some for taller riders. These seats here, we're not going to offer the tour pack on it, because honestly, when you get down and you sit in the bike in the pocket, you get so much tremendous back support, you really don't need it. Also, when you get pushed so far back, you'd have to actually make some really radical brackets to bring your backrest back, and then the rear passenger doesn't have a lot of room up there. So these are going to be just a 2-up seat, no backrest. They're going to be for taller guys and shorter guys, and then it's also going to be comfortable for the rear passenger. One of the things that we've noticed is some guys ride with tour packs and sissy bars. A lot of guys don't ride with tour packs and sissy bars. We started to make these seats where they have a little bit of a kick in the back and a little bit of a kick in the front. I say started to do this, we've been doing this for probably about 10 years now. What it ends up doing is, if you crack the throttle, it gives a little bit of support so the rear passenger doesn't feel like they're gonna slide off as much. Also, when we build up this front a little bit, it gives you, the rider, more support, but also keeps the rear passenger from really feeling like they're gonna fall forward. And that's a great thing when you're braking. I've been on the bike before, you know, you stop really quick and someone moves forward and hits your arms, and it's kind of sketchy. So this really helps with that. Plus, we're able to shape the contour of the seat so that you get more support around here. Now, granted, again, this seat is in raw, rough form, but we're gonna scoop it out a little bit here. We're gonna dish it out. It's gonna be a cool looking seat and comfortable. As we come out around the butt cheeks, it'll come into your inner thighs. We shave that in so there's not a lot of pressure there. We found that you wanna sit more on your overall butt and less on your inner legs, because that puts pressure there. It's kind of like a happy balance. Too much pressure in your inner legs hurts. not enough pressure, now your cheekbones are gonna hurt. So we really try to balance that out. And it is different for every rider. We actually have a checklist that you could actually go through. And if you fill that whole checklist off with height, weight, riding style, everything you have to do, it really gives us a good insight so we could build the seat right the first time for you. So why this information is so critical is obviously if you have, you know, two people on a bike that weigh 50 pounds, it's only 100 pounds, the bike's not gonna sit really low in the back when you get on it. If your bike has air ride, doesn't have air ride, there's a lot of different factors to really take into consideration on how you're riding. Two people that are 50 pounds that get on a bike, it's not gonna squat down as much on a regular bike. Two people that are 400 pounds on the bike, it's gonna squat down a lot more. So that means if we do less of a kickback for you, and then your bike squats down, you're really not gonna get that back support. So it's very important to fill out those questionnaires. Okay, so we're gonna get started on this bike. Well, actually I already started on this bike. You can see I rough foamed it out. One of the questions we get a lot from our dealers is what type of gaps you need around the edges and underneath the seat pan. So it really depends on what the seat cover is. If we're doing a smooth leather seat cover, we'll actually a lot of times foam the seat really, really smooth and get that perfect, and it'll be completely foamed, and then the only thing that we wrap around is the leather or vinyl or fabric. In those cases, the seat's only gonna rise up maybe a 1/16 of an inch, it'll go back about a 1/16 of an inch. If you have your foam already flush mount with your tank, and we put that 1/16 of an inch, it's gonna rise up and it's gonna be higher a little bit than your actual tank. That's one way. If we do a design seat and we're using a different foam, sometimes you use like a 1/4 inch foam or a 1/2 inch foam. Now you have to allow for that to go underneath there. It's really important to kind of nail your design and style that you want to do before you make your seat pan, so we kind of know what's going on. This seat here, we're going to be using 1/4 inch foams. We're going to be using some custom stitching and suede. It's going to puff up a little bit in areas, which is a challenge in some of these things because when any design work comes up to the front, you don't want a big bubbly wavy front end here. So that's another reason why it's really important to have a really good strong front nose structure, seat pan and a firm foam so it doesn't change a lot. What we like to do on average is tell people we need an 1/8 inch of gap all the way around here and underneath the seat pan. That gives us enough to foam it, and then the seat pan will move up and slide back just a little bit. As you've seen in our video before making the seat pan, one of the things we stress is you want to make sure that you build up the back of the front of the back fender, and also you want to build up this front area, because what happens is if you have this sitting in this groove and you make your seat pan exactly to the fender and exactly to the front frame and really close to the tank, now when we go to foam it and wrap it and put the bottom material on, it's going to have to go up more and you end up losing this dished thing. What we'll do is you'll push it forward a little bit, push this forward a little bit, about 1/8 of an inch is perfect. Then that gives us all the room we need to put the bottom material on, wrap our edges, and this way when it sits on here, it'll look perfect. Before we get started, I want to do one thing, and that's to save you money. A lot of people come in and they'll sit there and say their main concern is the front seat where they're riding, they want that comfortable, and the back really doesn't matter. A lot of times, most of the time, 90% of the time, we'll cut down the back seat, we'll make it narrow, we'll make it low, and it will actually look really cool. If you have a wife, significant other that's on that back seat, make it comfortable the first time, then you won't be doing a second seat. That's literally our most common thing we do. Let's get started. Let's make this seat comfortable and cool. When I say rough foam, you can see here there's a big gap and it's tight here and all that stuff. What I'm gonna go through is fill this in and we're gonna sculpt it to get a nice 1/8 inch gap all the way around there. I have to compensate for the material that's gonna be underneath the seat because you don't want it to sit higher than the tank. You're gonna want it to sit a little bit lower and kind of just fill right in there. I like to have at the end about a 1/16 of an inch gap. This way the material's not touching the tank, but the gap's clean and nice and you don't see anything underneath there. Also, you can see as we're shaping the rear of the seat, we got this dish here. Trying to compensate one, like this bike right now is in the low position. It still is angled up a little too high. We're gonna trim this back, lower that back slightly. We're gonna raise the front here. This way, like when I was saying before, you have a little bit of meat here so it keeps you from falling forward or sliding forward, and same thing as sliding back. Okay, now I have the original seat here that I know the rider was comfortable on. I'm gonna duplicate that. I wanna get the same profile, same shape. We also know that the rear passenger was not comfortable on this seat. And if you look, this seat here is only basically at the top 6.5 wide. Right now, this one's already 8.5. We're gonna flare it out more. So you have a little bit more of a curve right where you're kind of like cuddles your butt cheeks. That'll be perfect, and it's gonna be a lot more comfortable. I have to add the front here. I actually, when the seat was on, I took a few measurements of where I want to add the foam. So I add the foam around here, and then I'm gonna go back and forth like 50 times to make sure we have that nice gap. Okay, also, I know I'm not a hat person. I just wear a hat because when I take it off, the reflection on the camera looks horrible, and I don't have a makeup artist like some people do. And you know what's funny too is I've noticed that like with the coronavirus and all these actors and actresses at home making their funny videos and all that stuff, when they have to do their own makeup, they kind of look like Clarabelle the clown, you know, with all craziness. I bet they are really understanding the value they had towards their makeup artists, their writers, their producers, their creators. Okay, so I switched over to a sculpting foam, but I wanted to kind of show you this sculpting foam here. You can see we're starting to get the edges a little bit better. Still got a little bit of fine tuning to do. You can see here how the tank flows around, and that gap is at that angle. Then over here, the tank flows around and the gap's at a different angle. We're gonna have to build up this side and fill that in so it looks good. A lot of times when people are doing bodywork and fabrication work, they don't take into consideration symmetry, which is very important for us when we're making seats, because when you go to take an actual seat and make a pattern and foam it, sometimes the graphics will actually have to be symmetrical, otherwise they show up really bad that they're not. How do you make a symmetrical pattern on a seat that really isn't symmetrical? Because if you don't fit the bike and have it flow to the edges, it'll look horrible. One of my peers was saying that they think it's crazy that we're showing a lot of what we do. We get kind of a mixed response. One, the people who are gonna try this at home are gonna try it anyway, and our customers who see this will kind of get a better insight into really what's involved in doing a seat. Not as simple as some people think. Another reason I think it's good to show this stuff is years ago, I remember getting into this business was really tough. There wasn't a lot of custom guys around. And I remember I went on a website, and this is like way back. There was Interiors by Shannon, and he had a list of all suppliers, everybody to deal with, everybody in this industry. And I was like, man, this guy's kind of giving out all like everything, but the guy does incredible work. I guess it really doesn't matter. And so I guess that's kind of where you want to go on this, is if, you know, no matter what, people are going to get into this. And people like Interiors by Shannon, who I never met, I've liked a bunch of his posts, and sorry, man, I stalked you for years. You build wicked stuff. You know, those are the people I think that really help this industry, and that's important. It's kind of doing the same thing. If people see this and they start doing it, that's awesome, because we need people in this industry. This is an awesome industry, and a lot of the younger youth guys aren't really getting into it. It's a difficult market to tap into. For me, it was tough because I didn't work at a shop. I tried to work at a shop, but they wanted me to do it for like 5 years minimum and start off at minimum wage, which I probably should have done, because the guy at his shop did beautiful work and he was an awesome guy. I just kind of dove head first into this, and we started doing it day and night, and just trying to, every day you try to improve. Basically, one, I want to thank people like Interiors by Shannon who actually go out and do that. I hope that other people will start doing this stuff too, because it's pretty cool. All right, so now you can see it's getting close. We're getting a decent gap, but what I want to show you, I still got to go through and I'll have to fill a little bit here and round these off. One thing that's really important with, I guess, motorcycle seats, I'm like grunting because I'm picking the seat off the bike. Motorcycle seats, custom car interiors, and I guess really custom boat interiors, it's a little different than everything else. When you do like home upholstery, you'll actually have a lot of foam, and it's puffy and padded, and your seat cover itself kind of sculpts it and gets your shape and all that. When you're doing like car upholstery, it's like a little bit softer because some of the foam is soft. When you start doing real custom car interiors, you really sculpt your foam perfect, and it has to be really precision. Then your cover has to be form fitted to that, because your foam is your edge, your crispness. It's everything kind of goes together. The same thing on a motorcycle seat. You want to get all your lines really tight, really crisp, and then put your cover on it. You never want to make a cover that's loose, or I'm sorry, foam that's soft, and then make a cover hoping that seat cover is going to move the foam around. We spent a lot of time sculpting and shaping, and that's what we're doing on this seat. This seat here, I wanted to show you, as you can kind of really see, this is kind of a big example of the crookedness of the seat. So, it's pretty rough still, but if you look, obviously the seat pan goes up, but that's because of the wiring here. But on the top of the seat, which actually I'll spin it. So if you look there, you can see it's a totally different shape and profile. Now that's because it has to match the tank. If I was to make this seat symmetrical, on the right side of the seat, it would be completely off. There'd be a huge gap and it wouldn't look right. In order to make the seat look good on the bike, we have to make an unsymmetrical seat to match. Now, once I finish sculpting this and get the right shape, we're gonna have to make a cover, and that cover is gonna be a symmetrical cover on a non-symmetrical seat. It's a really challenge for us upholsterers to do that sometimes. I'll have to make the graphics go in different designs and different ways to avoid showcasing any of the seat that's not symmetrical.